Well, hello. We are on day 10 of this incredible live stream series. For those of you who may be catching us for the very first time, I've been going live every day in August, at least the weekdays anyway, for lunch. This is a chance where you can hang out with me, you can have your lunch, and we can talk about the change and shift that you are sensing within yourself. Now, this week we've had some incredible topics. In fact, yesterday I did a lot of talking around giving yourself permission. And I think our conversation today is going to be an excellent follow up because the permission you need to give yourself is actually coming on the heels of what you're sensing inside. Now, I know for myself, I know if I take myself back to all of the defining moments throughout my entire life, there was always this tug, or dare I say, this invitation that was calling me forward to something that I really didn't understand. And anytime that you are on your journey and you are evolving, it usually starts as this quiet inkling within. Sometimes I like to call it the evolution ick. It's just this unsettling within yourself that kind of just keeps saying to you, you're meant for more. There's more in it for you. There's more in store. There's more for you to do. There's more for you to consider. It's almost as if what you're trying on every single day is not fitting you. And that doesn't mean that it's in the professional sense, because actually, I work with a lot of women who are at the crossroads, and that crossroads can be in life, it can be in work, and it can be in business. The only thing that they know for sure is that something about their current situation doesn't feel like it fits anymore. And sometimes I describe that as this shrinking that you feel that you're having to do to continue in the success that you're currently experiencing in one of those areas of your life. And so, as we are growing, as we are transforming, as there's this transformation happening on the inside of us, sometimes it's only us who knows. The rest of the world just keeps seeing us show up and do, show up and produce. They keep seeing this outward impact that we're having, these outward successes. To them, nothing looks wrong, nothing looks broken. We look all together, but inside, there really is this metamorphosis. And I love to use that big word because it is a big deal. The transformation that is starting on the inside of you is something you have visibility to. It's all over your emotions, it's all over your feelings, and it's shifting the way that you think. It's shifting the way that you show up. It's shifting the way that you exhibit confidence. It's almost an invitation to show up bigger and better. And so, what I want to talk to you today about is how shifting your thinking and shifting your confidence and the perspectives of all those things change how you show up. How you show up in your work, your life, and even your future plans. And so, when you're at this defining moment and you're being invited to something new, I want you to know oftentimes the most powerful moves are the ones that you don't post about. The most powerful moves are the things that are happening within you. And I have an incredible guest that's going to come and share from her journey, her own personal journey, as well as her journey of working with me when she hit one of those crossroads in her life. Today's conversation is all about the growth that starts within. It's the kind of shift that might not be broadcasted. As I said many times, the only person who knows that something is going on with us is us, unless we have a safe space, a partner, a friend, a family member, or someone that we trust to care, to share what's going on because we sense they will care enough to help us. But it changes when you sense that shift coming, when you sense that shift happening, it changes everything about how you think. It changes everything about how you lead, and it changes everything about how you plan your future. And so I am joined today by someone who has been intentional about doing this work quietly, but so powerfully, and who has seen the ripple effect show up in her confidence. It's shown up in her clarity, and it's shown up in the steps that she has taken. Now, I'll tell you, one of the biggest shifts I see in the women I work with is when they decide that they don't have to do it alone. When they say yes to the growth, and they say yes and recognize it isn't just about ambition, it's about being wise enough to get help, wise enough to get perspective, wise enough to get support that allows you to grow faster and stronger. And this is why I am so excited to have Aja join me. Now, I'm going to bring up Aja to the stage so that you guys can meet her. I have been working with Aja for just under a year. It's been an incredible journey, and she has accomplished so many incredible things. And I wanted her to come today because oftentimes we're thinking that it is just us that sense that we need to do more, that we know need to show up differently. And I'm so glad that she said yes to this invitation to just share from her own personal journey. So welcome, Aja. And why don't you just introduce yourself however you would prefer?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, my name is Aja. I'm based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I am a mom, a TA professional, and a 4th-degree black belt martial artist who has just been nominated for mastership. So that's a great opportunity to use more of the skills that you taught me and I learned about myself to continue in that and other areas of my life.
I love it. Congratulations on the nomination. I tell you, your successes just continue to accelerate. You impress me. The fact that you look like you're just petite little and, could be overpowered, and yet you are a master. You are a black belt. That is so impressive. So let me ask you this question. What made you decide it was time to focus on yourself and focus on your growth in a more intentional way?
Yeah, I have been a people pleaser for probably the vast majority of my life. And so, worrying about other people, trying to make sure other people are happy, but I wasn't happy. And, I knew what direction I wanted to take in my life. And I was just grasping at straws, and I'm like, you know what, there's got to be a better way to do this that fits me, right, and gives me more of the clarity of what I need to do in my life and what steps I need to take to get where I need to be, where I want to be.
That is so cool. You know why? Because oftentimes when you find yourself as a people pleaser, it's hard to see yourself. It's hard to see yourself long enough to even make the decision that you made, right? Where
Right.
you began to say, something's got to change here. So before we started working together, what were you looking for or hoping to figure out? Like, what was really going on with you in that instance that proved to be such a defining moment for you?
Well, what I was looking for was a clearer cut plan, but life doesn't work that way. I like clear directions. I like, okay, if you do this, then you'll get here. And if you do this, you'll get here. So that's what I was hoping for, but life doesn't work out that way. And I don't necessarily need that as much as I thought I did.
That's really helpful because sometimes we can have these expectations and we get into the process and we start to realize that it was really something else that served us more. And so when you think about that, what's been different about this process compared to things you might have even tried before? What was different for you this time that seemed to have helped you get over the hump?
This time working, with you especially, and I had been to one of your seminars in Charlotte before, which was one of the reasons that I joined you, because from then until when I joined you officially, there was a more holistic approach, right? Things that how I grew up and traits that I developed while growing up really affect how I move now. And so to realize that, to take a step back and think like, oh, you know, I'm a people pleaser, or I'm this, or I'm that, that is really affecting how I move now. And so the clarity, getting that clarity helps me navigate, right now. And gets me to take a step back and really think like, okay, is this how I want to move? Is how I'm moving a cause of how I've grown up? And if so, stop and think about that. And then say that, hey, I don't want to move this way because that's how I've always moved. Let's try this. Right? Don't be afraid to try something new, to grow from that, instead of just doing it how you've always done, because that's the definition of insanity, doing stuff over and over again and expecting a different result. So we got to move away from that.
You know what's really interesting to me, and I guess this is just the coming out of info with us not having a prescripted plan here, right?
Right.
Is not once in any of our conversations have we talked about people pleasing. And so, whatever I was working with you on had to have sent you into something reflective that made you start evaluating how you were showing up and why you were doing the things that you were doing and what was the origin of them. Because I'm listening to you and I'm like, I don't remember us specifically working through those things. And the reason why I bring this up, and this is actually making an excellent point for me, it's something that I have started to say over the last year, is that when you are working with someone, it is very, very important that they show you how and why they're, how to do something and why you're doing it. Like you want with someone who is willing to roll up their sleeves and like get into the work with you. But in addition to that, the person has to be able to hold space for your humanity. And everything you're talking about right now, that was a real big part of your growth, was the things that you were personally dealing with that was stretching you and really saying that you needed to evolve and grow personally. And what's interesting for me in this moment, like, aha, is these aren't the types of conversations we were having, but this is the type of transformation you were experiencing. And I think that that is really, really powerful. And so while that is a surprise for me, I'm interested in knowing what was the surprise for you when we started working together. Like what surprised you in that process? Because this is actually a surprise to me right now.
The main surprise is that I was not expecting to go that deep, right? Like, this is a coach that's gonna build a plan for me, and I'm gonna follow the plan, and I'm gonna, know which direction I'm going. But the surprise was like, oh, I'm doing this because of this. And I'm thinking that I need to say yes to everybody, that, everything is worth my time. Every opportunity is a good opportunity, but it's not, and it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be everything to everyone.
So powerful. I mean, amazing, amazing, amazing. And I think, like there's so many bells like are ringing in my head right now, because what you're sharing with me confirms so much for me. As you know, my process is to start with purpose and then come with positioning. Like, how are you positioning in the marketplace when you're working on business, and that drives profits? And so this entire conversation just reiterates to me why it is so important to start with purpose, like connecting with yourself, connecting with what you value, connecting with what's important to you, because the transformation that's going to come as you take the journey is going to be way deeper than anything that you're quote unquote working on. It's going to be personal. It's going to make a shift happen in you. And so when you're thinking about, what the experience was for you, how has the work that we did together impacted how you show up, whether it's at home or at work or even in your decision making? Like, what's different for you now?
Yeah, showing up at home and at work, I'm able to prioritize better,
Mhm.
um, and and not just jump into things, learning to take a step back and look into an entire situation. So, with my karate academy, this is one of this has helped me saying, you know what, I'm better here than I am here.
Mhm.
Right. And showing up everywhere with the confidence to approach it with love and approach it that I'm serving. That doesn't mean I love and serve everybody or everything. Right. But the things that are meant for me or the things that align with my intentions and my future goals, I'm able to come in it with love and with with service. That's not how I wanted to to phrase it, but I think that kind of that got it across mainly how I wanted to say it. But
Mhm.
approaching it with love and being there to serve
Mhm.
who I'm meant to serve.
Mhm. I love that. I am so glad that you were willing to bet on yourself in that way. I think that you have got far more out of the experience than I even knew, right? Because there's so many of your successes that I continue to applaud as you are accelerating towards all the goals that you outlined. And so I'm looking at those things thinking that they were the spoil, but the spoil for you, the win for you, the victory for you was really the transformation. And this transformation sets you up for such great success as you continue to move forward, because it's changing some of the foundation that might have been cracks for you, right? And that might not have allowed you to put on top of it this entire house that you want to build with all of your hopes and dreams. And so I think it's just so, so incredible to hear how it impacted you. And it makes me so grateful. One of the things you don't know is when I went live yesterday, I started off the segment talking about how grateful I was because I get to do this, right? I get to do this. I get to be a part of journeys that are making a difference for people in terms of their life and in terms of their business. And here you are showing up today to let me know just how impactful it was. And I thank you for being so transparent and so willing to share. So I do have another question. What would you tell someone who's considering working with me, but they're on the fence? What would you say to that person?
Do it. I don't know. Um, do it, but don't feel like you have to do it. I don't know how exactly I want to phrase it. Do it, yes, but be prepared to really take a deep look at yourself inward and find out and learn more about yourself. It's going to be scary sometimes. It's, it was scary for me to look back and, dig deep and really learn about how past actions affect how I was moving. um, but don't come in here thinking that this is going to be like a clear cut roadmap. You do really, like you said, purpose comes first.
Mm-hmm.
When you find out your purpose, then the rest will flow. So really dig deep, really want to be able to dig deep and find out what your purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're ready to do that, then Denise is wonderful. And you should absolutely work with her if you're ready to learn how to move differently, not in a cookie cutter aspect, like, okay, you do this to go here, to go there. No, it really takes learning about all of you. And then when you find that out, you may find out that the way you were moving wasn't the way that you yourself needed to go.
Wow. That's so powerful. And I'm so glad I just let you keep speaking, because it just got better and better as you evolved. I am so glad that you said yes to showing up here. I don't take it for granted that you were willing to make yourself available to talk about the experience. I am so glad that you gave yourself permission. It's interesting because as you started to answer, the hesitation is always, am I going to rise to the occasion? Am I going to do it? Am I going to show up for myself? Is this the right thing for me? Am I going to be available? Am I going to make time? Like, you ask yourself all of these questions. But I love how you said it in a way that said, do it, but there's caution there because there's more responsibility for you to take on in the process. When I listened to your response, what I kept hearing is, she's here as a guide for you, but the journey is yours to take. And you have to be willing to make yourself available for that. And if you are, then absolutely go forward. And so thank you for sharing that. That's what I took from your response. And I'm glad that working with me has proved to be so profitable for you, Aja. I really am. And all of the great work that you have crystallized for me even more today from what you shared of what you were doing and how it impacted you. It's just so completely impressive. So thank you for joining me today. I have a few wrap up comments. So I'm going to put you backstage and then I'm going to close out with everybody else. So thanks. All right. So now today, as you heard, we were talking about the transformation that happens inside. And I didn't even know all of that was going on with Aja as she was working with me, facing the crossroads of where she was at. One of the things that about that crossroads, whether it's in your life, whether it's in your work, or whether it's in your business, is that it is an invitation for you to grow. It's an invitation for you to stretch beyond where you are and into who you can become. And so I think there's a couple of things that we can take away. The first one that we heard loud and clear is that growth is easier with a guide. I know that from my own life. I know that from my own journey. And we just heard it loud and clear from Aja's journey as well. When you're navigating something new, a guide can help you avoid costly detours, A guide can help you keep your vision clear, and a guide can shorten the learning curve. Now, not just any old guide. And this is where you have to do some diligence to make sure that the person you are connecting with to help you on your journey is someone whose voice resonates with you, like you recognize it as home. So just like you can map on Google all day, but if someone has walked that path before, they'll point out shortcuts, or they'll point out potholes, or they'll point out things to give consideration to that Google just can't tell you. Google only knows those things if somebody's told it. And it's because the person who is actually on the road is indicating where there's hazardous things happening in the journey. And that's what a guide does for you. It helps you avoid the costly detours. It helps you to keep that vision clear so that you can keep moving forward. And it absolutely 100% shortens your learning curve. The second thing that's important when you are in this moment of growth, in this defining moment where you are being stretched, is to recognize that support helps you to see the blind spots. We all have what we'll hold ourselves back from. We have our patterns, we hold ourselves back from addressing them. We have our habits, we hold ourselves back from addressing them. And we have our fears, we hold ourselves back from addressing them. And the reason why we hold ourselves back from addressing the patterns and the habits and the fears is because they're normalized. They're what we're used to. And so, as Aja was talking, one of the things she said that happened by working with me is it disrupted her thinking. It disrupted what she just took as normal behavior. It disrupted her thinking that that was the way it always has to be. So, having help means someone else can spot what you can't see and challenge you to move past it. We have the opportunity to get support on our journey who will help us with what I love to call our growth edges. Our growth edges are those things that really help us with potential development areas and improvements. But the unfortunate thing is we can't always see them. We can't see the habits. We can't see the patterns. We can't see the things that are really causing us to be stagnant, stuck, or stall out. And so when you bring in help, when you bring in good help, I might add, when you bring in help, your growth edges can be identified and you can get some support operating beyond those things and being able to identify what they truly are. And I so love that I had the opportunity to do that with Aja. And the last thing about getting help on your journey is that saying yes to help is a power move. It's actually one of the biggest flexes ever. I know from my own journey, I'm a first generation leader, and I talk about first generation leaders all the time because we have been conditioned to prove things on our own. We have been conditioned to show everybody else that we belong or we don't belong, that we have what it takes to achieve, that we have what it takes to get the things done. So we are a prover. We are a prover. But when you say yes to help and you recognize the value of help, you will soon see it's a flex, it's a power move, and not a weakness. You see, as high achievers, we often think that figuring out on our own is a badge of honor. But most leaders, most good leaders, most successful leaders will always seek counsel, will always seek coaching and community to keep evolving. If you go to the top tier, they're always interacting, networking, and operating together. They're connected with one another, like iron sharpening iron. And so when you say yes to help, it's a power move. It is not a weakness. And that is something that I tell myself all the time, that getting help makes me wise. It does not make me weak. Now, today we unpack Aja's journey, and her journey is proof that you don't necessarily have to make this big public appeal of what's happening on the inside of you. But what I do know is true. What I do know is true, as she shared, and as I know from my own journey. If you keep ignoring it, it's not going to go away. The intensity of what you're being called to address is just going to increase more and more. But the value of what's in it for you is so huge. It is huge. And that transformation is going to be real and lasting. Where you see Aja at now is a long stint away from where she started. She has boundaries that she operates with. She has confidence that she operates with. And those things, that transformation is lasting and real. And I want you to know that getting help can simplify your journey, it can accelerate your success, and you from the support will get confidence, clarity, and purpose. Now, as a part of this journey, I am welcoming women who get or feel a sense that starting the right business is their next move. I have this incredible event that is coming up at the end of October, October 25th and 26th here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It'll be in person. You'll be in a room with me, and I'll be there to energize you. I'll be there to motivate, inspire, give you strategy, and coach you real time in person to help you get beyond the crossroads you're facing. So if you have a desire, if it's on your heart, if that nudge is telling you that starting your business is your right next move, then this is my invitation to you to give yourself permission to lean into the growth that you sense and to get in the room that's moving in the direction that you want to go, the direction of the success that you are dreaming about. So, Corporate to Entrepreneur Live is a signature event, and I'm so excited. We're putting the finishing touches on a lot of the details, and it is going to be an experience that will ignite and accelerate the women who choose to be in the room. Now, this room is an intimate setting, and I do that with intentionality because I know what it's like to show up in places and blend in and hide and leave the same way you came. But that's not what's going to happen. In this experience, you will be seen. You will be heard. You will be validated. You will be supported. You will find community of women who are on this incredible journey to accelerate their success and getting expert guidance from me. And so if you want to know more, if you want to know more about Corporate to Entrepreneur Live, I want to invite you to go to www.theceoshift.live. We are still in pre-sale mode, but I made a decision yesterday that pre-sale will end at the end of August. And so you get your coins together. Now it's 80% off right now. So it's as affordable as it's ever going to be to get there. For less than $100, you can get in a room with me, spend great time, and have an incredible experience, accelerating your success and moving forward with a strategy and plan for the business that you feel called to start. So this is your invitation, a personal invitation for me, for the woman who sensed that growth that she's been sensing on the inside of her is indeed an invitation to start the right business. Join me at Corporate to Entrepreneur Live. Go to www.theceoshift.live. We still have seats. It's still in pre-sale, and I would love to see you there. Now, I have 2 more weeks of doing lives with you, and I am not weary in well doing. I am pressing my way. The return to this mic has been incredible. It has been so great to share with you from my heart. Now, if you missed day 1 through 9, because you're here right now, which means you got number 10, but if you missed 1 through 9, don't fret. I have a playlist for you on my YouTube channel where you can catch up and you can look at the conversations. Now, I've only had 2 interviews. So most of the conversations you will hear from me, you'll get a good sense of what it's like to be in a room with me, to understand the strategies, the mental, the mindset shifts that I talk about, as well as the practicality of executing your vision and dream. You'll get a real good sense of that. And I think if you take some time, you'll be encouraged. Now, over the next 2 weeks, we are going to step into the business mode. We're going to talk about what it is to launch the business. For the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about the thought process that you need to really get past in order to give yourself permission to go for it. Next week, we're going for it. We're going to talk about what it takes to launch the right business. I hope that you have an incredible weekend. I will look forward to seeing you on Monday. And if by chance you know someone who needs to hear this, be your sister's keeper and share it. Take a screenshot or share on whatever platform you're listening to so that they can tune in and they can be encouraged with you. I look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to pick back up on Monday. Have a great week.